Now it's your turn to try. Now, don't let this freak you out. You can do this. You just have to be careful, read the words carefully, and see what you get. I want you to try number 1 and 2, and then I'm going to come back and help you with number 3. That one can be a little bit confusing, but I want you to try number 1 and 2, pause the video, read the question, see if you can draw the triangle, and then see if you can get the answer. Come back in a minute, we'll see how you did. All right, let's check out how you did. You may think, wow, these are harder. Typically, word problems are going to give us a little bit more problem because we have to take the words and try to figure out what they're trying to tell us. It's sort of like when somebody gives you instructions to drive to their house and you have to try to follow those instructions to get there. Let's do number 1. Benjamin stakes a kite to the ground for an experiment. Okay, so he's going to have a kite in the air, and I am not a very good artist, but I'm going to try a little bit. There's a kite in the air, and there's a string running to the ground. So he puts a stake in the ground, and he's letting the kite fly. Now, again, you don't have to be a good artist. I'm just drawing what I can. To find out how high the kite is flying, he measures the length of string from the ground to the kite, 100 feet. So from the ground to the kite, this is 100 feet. All right, that's how much string there is. And the horizontal distance, we got to be careful with the words here, horizontal distance from the stake to the point just under the kite is 80 feet. So if I go under the kite, I'm going to be here. And it says the horizontal distance, horizontal. Okay, if you were watching a sunset, that's the horizon. You're watching the sun go down. This is the horizon that you're seeing. So horizontal means this line. That's just an easy way to remember it. It says the horizontal is 80 feet. So this ends up, it says, what is the kite's altitude? Well, planes go to altitudes. That's how high they are. And so there's my x. So I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem to get that, because this is a right triangle. A squared plus b squared is c squared. Now, where is my c squared? Always find that thing. It's the long side, so this has to be c. It's across from the right triangle. Let's say that's a, and this is b, and there's my c. So a squared, we don't know that. B squared, 80 times 80. Well, I'm going to make sure I get that right, so I'm going to use my calculator. 80 times 80 is 6,400. Now, when you work one of these problems, you may think, oh my gosh, that's a really big answer. Don't worry, keep working, see what you get. Now, c squared is going to be 100, so 100 times 100 equals 10,000. Well, the numbers are getting really big. Don't let it bother you. Just keep going. To work this problem, I need the letters on one side, numbers on the other. So I have to subtract 6,400. So 10,000 minus 6,400 is 3,600. And that's a squared. That seems like a lot. Take the square root to make that go away, and a equals, let's see, square root 3600 equals 60. That came out exact. Let's see if this makes sense. If this is a 60, is C now still the longest side? 60, 80, 100. It is. So that's a logical answer. It's going to be 60 feet. So that's the answer I would look to bubble if I were doing it on a test. Let's look at number 2 real quick. See if you got that one right. In number 2, it starts talking about directions. So I want to make sure you get this real quick. Remember, when you're dealing with directions, north, south, west, east. Let's see if we can do it. A plane flies 120 miles due south of DFW. So that means going south. And it said it went 120 miles. Okay? And then it turns and flies 50 miles due east. So it turns and it goes east. That means it's going to go right. It's going to go east 50 miles. So I'm just drawing what it says. on its way to Houston. Now, does it matter if we're going from DFW to Houston? No. How far is the plane from Dallas? Well, that means the only thing we don't know is this one right here. So there's my triangle. That's my c squared. It's my long side. So back to what we were just doing, and I'm going to move through this one quickly because I bet you got it right. C squared we don't know. A squared is 120. So 120 times 120 equals 14400. B squared is 50. So 50 times 50 is 2,500. Now I have to add those two together. 14400 plus 2500 equals 16900 equals c squared. Take the square root. Just let my calculator do the work for me. 16900 equals 130. Let's see if that makes sense. Take the c squared out. 130. It's supposed to be the longest side. Is it the longest side? Yes, that's probably the answer. If you've gotten both of these with me, you're doing really good. And I bet you can do these word problems. If you're struggling with these, this may be the kind of thing you want to go show a teacher or a friend and say, this is where I'm struggling, word problems, and see if you can get it. I'm going to do number 3 as well because this one can be confusing. And I want to show you because sometimes they give you hints that you need to know. It says television screen sizes. Probably bought a new television or looked at a new television you'd like to have at home. Television screen sizes are measured on a diagonal. Well, this is what it means by a diagonal. Okay, so it tells you in sentence 1, television screens are measured in diagonals. If a portable TV has a screen size of 5 inches, well, they just told you it's measured in diagonals. So that means that's 5 inches. And the bottom of the screen measures 4 inches. How tall is the screen? Well, there's my X. Now, actually, I have a lot of extra. Really, I don't need this part. There's my triangle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I know my C squared is my long side, so 5 times 5 is 25. A squared, let's just use it as this. B squared, 4 times 4 is 16. Minus 16. If I don't know what that is, 25 minus 16, use my calculator if I'm not sure. A squared equals 9. Take the square root. A equals, 3. See if that makes sense. If that's a 3, my longest side is still 5. That's probably the answer. My answer is 3 inches. That's the one I would look for. Again, if you're struggling with these, go see your teacher and see if this is maybe something you can practice, but working with word problems and figuring out using the Pythagorean theorem.